Hey folks, Carl here and welcome to episode 2 of Tamiya's Tiger mid-production. Okay folks, after the last episode we have gone and we primered using UMP's white primer, and then we have gone and given the base coat of XF63. So the tank is currently looking a very monotone grey. There's not much definition to this. It is quite literally just grey. So what we are going to do, we are going to go over this with a black filter, which is basically going to be a very small amount of NATO black mixed in with quite a lot of thinner, and we are literally just going to brush it all over the model and leave it to dry and see what we get. So I shall get some of this ready and we shall talk to you momentarily. Okay folks, we have taken a little bit of the NATO black and we've put some inside a shot glass. Literally it's just a couple of brush loads of the NATO black, and we are now going to probably half fill this tub with thinners to thin this right out. Around about there. Like I say, this is a filter, not a wash. So all of this is going to do, it's going to give a little bit, hopefully it'll move into all the recesses and the crooks and nannies, and will give us a little bit of tonal definition. So literally there's literally nothing to it. I'm just going to get this little spill cleaned up. And we shall test it first of all on a few wheels. So we have some painted here in the same monotone grey. So all we are going to do is load up the brush and we're just going to paint it on and leave it to dry. A little bit too much. So we will leave these to dry for 10-15 minutes. Now that they're all brushed. And we shall see what sort of result we get. So I shall let these dry and we shall be back in around about 10-15 minutes. Okay folks, these have had probably around about half an hour to dry. Now we shall zoom in a bit and see if you can see any difference. So the difference isn't huge. As you can see, there's a slight colour differentiation. Slight colour differentiation. That makes no sense whatsoever. Slightly different colour. That'll work in there now. So if we get a wheel that's not had this done to it and we slide that in next to it, you can see the comparison. So this one has had the filter on it and this one hasn't. Yeah. So we are going to, first and foremost, we're going to get all these other wheels done first, because I don't think I've seen so many wheels on a tank before. So we've got 8, then another 8, and then another 8. So that's maths. That's 24 wheels, 12 wheels aside. and the tank really isn't that big. So, anywho, waffling on. So I'm going to get all this filtered. As you can see, I've moved the filter into another tub that had split, so it was leaking all over the place. So I've got some old Tamiya colour pots that when they are finished I wash them out, so we can use them for other bits and pieces. So that filter is in there, and we are going to get all of this done. So we shall be back once all of that is done and dry. Talk to you shortly. Okay folks, that is us finished with the filter wash with NATO Black over the top of the German grey. So how does it look? So obviously you saw the first set of wheels we did. This camera is not picking it up very well, but there is now a very slight modulation to the colour. It's not showing up very well on those wheels. You can see it a little bit in the cogs on these ones, but not a huge amount. This is exactly what we were aiming for. We want it to be extremely subtle. You can see there on the bottom of this, there's slight colour modulation at the bottom of there. We've got all the other wheels done as well, but you can see it most on the top of the turret there. So obviously this is going to, next step is going to be the decals before we gloss coat. We will then, once the decals are on, we will paint all of the hand tools, the tow ropes. We'll put some rust effect on the back, on the exhausts, painting the machine gun and these tracks on here. We'll then gloss coat, and we will then apply the winter wash. Now I'm in two minds of what to use for the winter wash. I'm tempted to use the UMP white primer, because the way that that's sprayed on for the undercoat for this, it's sprayed on really well and really evenly, and really you've got really good control with it. Or I'm tempted to get the white clay wash from UMP. There's two colours I need to get. There's the white and there's the algae green, so I may very well order those and use those. We're several days away from that needing those yet, so we shall have a think about it. So that's where we're at the moment. So the next stage now is we are going to decal this up with the decals, and we are going to be using the 131 scheme. There's the decals there. So we're going to be using the 131 numbers, and that scheme is this one. So excuse me, we're going to need to put some decals on the side, and the German mark there, and a 131 on the back. So there's not much. There's literally 4 decals. No, there's another 2 smaller ones here at the back, some of the platoon markings and stuff like that. So yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decals to put on. Now I should put these decals on exactly the same way as we did on the Meng. So we have our water brushes somewhere, which is here. We've got 2 water brushes, one with micro sol and one with micro set. And this one's first, this one's second. So the main application, we shall use these ones, and we will literally cut them out, wet them with this, slide them off, position them onto the decal, give a little coat of this, give it 10-15 minutes to dry, and then give it a coat with this to get it to blend in and shape, because these side decals on here, on this part, there is a feature there, and we are going to need to shape these decals into that. If I can get this turret off the tank, it's not wanting to go off for some reason. There we go. So as you can see here where this decal is going on this side and this side, there is this, I don't know whether that's a hatch or what, I'm not sure. We'll have a decal going over the top of that, so it may take several coats in this one. So we shall see. I shall go off camera because you don't need to see me doing that, and when we're done we shall come back. So talk to you very shortly. Okay folks, we are in the process of decaling, and we've gone and we have decaled the front, side decals and the rear decals. So that is all the decals on the main body of the tank, and we are also in the process of decaling up the back, the sides, and we've got the one left to do here. So I'm just going to show you very quickly how we will put the decal on and shape it to the shape of the tank like that one. So we're using microset and micro sol, which are in these tubs here. When you buy it, it comes in two little tubs like this, microset and micro sol. The bottles are numbered for a reason. The reason being that microset goes on first, and once that's dry or dryish, we'll go over with micro sol, which attacks the decal a little bit more and makes it a lot softer, so you can shape it around things. So I have gone and put them in the pens. So all as we do is we take the first one, microset, squeeze some out into the brush, and we wet the backing paper like so, a little bit on the front, and then we pretty much give it a few moments. I've stopped using, now that I've got these water pens, I've stopped using water altogether, because the amount of this stuff that you use, it's minuscule. It's like I've had this for quite some time and I've only used that much, which out of this bottle, I think you can see the level there, and we've done several models, several decaled up models. You can now see the decal is starting to, I don't know if you're going to pick that up, it's starting to crinkle, come away from the paper. So get another set of tweezers and we will slide this decal, if it'll move, up and off, so we can actually get a hold of it with the tweezers. Get it completely off the backing paper, and then we very gently want to lay it down where we want it, and we want that one over the top. Get it in shot, that one over the top of that. Move that down a little bit, right about there. Yeah, so that is literally just sitting on top. It's not pushed down or anything, so now we're going to just push it down, take as much of the air out of it as possible. Yeah. See if we can get it to a little bit more fluid in the pen, get it to sit down on the model like so. More fluid, there's a little bit too much, so a bit of tissue paper just here. Take some of that off. So as you can see, it's not conforming very well around that shape at all. So I'm going to leave that a few moments. Just make sure we've got all the air out of it. And squeeze the air out with the cotton bud. Kind of sitting down now, So we'll just leave that for a few moments and we'll come back to it in a second. Okay folks, that's had not long, about a minute or so. So we're going to get number 2. Again, squeeze some into the brush. This stuff's a little bit more runny than the other stuff, and we're literally just going to dollop some over the top, like so. And then we are going to now leave that to melt. Oh, you can see it's really gone really soft now, so we're going to leave that be now and let that dry itself. So we shall be back in a moment. Okay folks, this has had about 5 minutes, and as you can see it's starting to take that shape, but I've dried off my brush and I'm literally going to go around and push the decal down now so it takes, goes into the grooves. The same with that groove there, and all we're doing, dry my brush again, is forcing it into the shape of the tank. Not putting any more fluid on. It just keeps seeping into the brush and keep drying it. And again, we are now going to leave that to settle for another 5 minutes and then we'll come back to it. So talk to you in a moment. Okay folks, that has had another good 5 minutes. As you can see, it has now taken the shape, so I'm going to go over it one last time. With the micro sol, and leave that completely overnight. So there we go. We are now all decaled on this kit. So on to the next section. Talk to you shortly. Okay folks, that is the decals all done, and we have started laying down some paint for obviously the machine gun. That's all we've done on there so far. I put a coat of black on these tracks, very subtle when we've not done these ones, so you can see the difference to there. So we've also gone and started doing a few the hand tools on there. We've done the iron grey on the hand tools, on the metal parts here, the shovel, the hammer, the axe, this as well. That's all we've done on there so far. So we have started painting hand tools. Now I've been and ordered my clay wash, the snow one from UMP, so that should be here in the next day or so, and hopefully by the time it comes we've got all of the hand tools done and we can then get a gloss coat down. Oh, we're going to do a little bit of rust on the back as well, but not a huge amount on the exhausts, just a tiny little bit. So hopefully that will all be ready and gloss coated when that arrives. So I'm going to carry on and we shall talk to you momentarily when we've done a little bit more. Okay folks, as you can see we are moving on with painting. The hand tools are now all done. We've got this bar done here. All we've got left for painting on this section is the tow cables and the I believe this is for cleaning the barrel. It all screws together, the little sections in the middle there, and the fire extinguisher, and that is it. And then we are on to the chipping. Now we've already done some of the chipping on the main turret, so I'll get this out of the way. So we've started Got some chipping on here, and if we zoom in, we've gone quite heavy around here, where the this is probably the radio operator or the gunner's hatch here, and we've done a little bit around this hatch on the back on these stowage boxes. We've not gone super heavy, and we've gone some on and around where the tracks connect, and then we've done some random little bits here and there, the top of the barrel, like so. Don't forget that this is also going to get a gloss coat, and then it's going to get a whitewash over the top of it to give you that winter camo look, and then we'll add a little bit more of weathering on top of that, so quite a bit of this is actually going to be covered up. So that is that. And now how we have got this effect, what we have used, just not the camera, we have used hull red, which is XF9, and we've also used the XF56 metallic grey, and we have used a couple of things. We've used a paintbrush, it's one of these, about that size, not too small, not too big, and we have also used a little piece of this rolled up, held in a pair of tweezers, and we've roughened up the edges. And all as we've done is we've shaken up the pot, opened it up, dabbed this into the lid, excuse me, picked up a little bit of the paint and taken the excess away, and we very lightly gone around the tank, very lightly touching where we want the weathering to be. And after we'd got that down, we got the brush out and we went around some of the edges around this section, around the back here, just very lightly using the edge of the brush and touching up different spaces. So that is how we got that chipping effect. So I am going to continue with this, do some finish painting off the tow ropes and the last few little bits, and obviously we've got a few more little hand tools on the back of here, and I plan to put a little bit of rust effect on here, which again I'll be using the hull red and some rust coloured powders. So I'm not sure how long this video is, but I am going to call it there because it's a good point to stop and get ready for the next video. So hopefully when we come back on the next video, we'll have the final bit of painting on here on the back, little bits of rust, and we'll be ready for the whitewash. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Be good, be safe, and as always, keep making models, and we'll catch you next time. Ta-ta.